Midnight phone call. The night was very quiet, and then there was a sound. I was in my bed. My bed was warm and soft. I was sleeping. My eyes were closed. In my sleep, I was dreaming. It was a nice dream. I was on a boat. The sun was warm on my face. The water was blue. It was a very good dream. But then the sound came. It was not a sound from my dream. It was a real sound. It was in my room. The sound was loud. It was a sharp sound again and again. Ring, ring, ring. The sound stopped my dream. The boat was gone. The blue water was gone. The warm sun was gone. Now there was only the sound. And the dark. My room was very dark. I did not open my eyes yet. I was listening. What was that sound? Ring, ring, ring. It was my phone. My phone was ringing. Why was my phone ringing? It was the middle of the night. The night is for sleeping. The night is not for phone calls. My eyes opened a little. I could see nothing. The room was black, but I could hear. The sound was very clear. It was on the small table next to my bed. My phone was on that table. Ring, ring, ring. The sound was so loud in the quiet room. I moved my hand. My hand was under the warm blanket. I moved my hand out of the blanket. The air in the room was cold. My warm hand was now in the cold air. I moved my hand on the bed. I was looking for the table. I did not want to open my eyes more. I touched the wood of the table. The table was cold and hard. My fingers walked on the table. They were looking for my phone. Ring, ring, ring. The phone was still making the loud sound. My fingers touched something smooth. It was my phone. It was vibrating. It was shaking a little with the ring. I put my hand on the phone. The ringing stopped, but the phone was still vibrating in my hand. It was still asking me to answer. I slowly sat up in my bed. The warm blanket fell down a little. My back was now cold. I was not happy. I was tired. I wanted to sleep. Who was calling me at midnight? I brought the phone close to my face. The screen was very bright. The light from the screen hurt my eyes. My eyes were not ready for light. I closed my eyes for a moment. Then I opened them again, very slowly. I could see the light from the screen on the walls of my dark room. I looked at the screen. I saw a name. The name was Maria. Maria is my friend, my good friend. Why was Maria calling me? It was very late. Maybe something was wrong. My heart started to beat a little faster. I was not sleepy now. I was worried. I pushed the green button on the screen with my thumb. The screen changed. The call was answered. I put the phone to my ear. The phone was cold against my skin. "Hello," I said. My voice was quiet. It was a sleepy voice. I heard a sound on the phone. It was the sound of wind. And then I heard Maria's voice. "Hello," she said. Her voice was small. She sounded scared. "Maria, it's me," I said. "Are you okay? What is wrong?" My voice was a little louder now. I was more awake. I was very worried. "I need help," she said. I could hear she was crying a little. Her voice was shaking. "My car, it stopped. It will not start." I listened very carefully. "Where are you?" I asked. It was the most important question. Where was she? "I am on the old road," she said. "The road near the forest. I don't know where exactly. It is so dark here." The old road. I knew that road. It was a long, dark road with many trees. There were no houses on that road. It was not a good place to be at night. "Okay," I said. My voice was calm now. I wanted her to feel calm. Stay in your car, lock the doors, I will come and get you. Really? She asked. Her voice was a little hopeful now. Yes, really, I said. I am getting dressed now. I will be there soon. Just stay on the phone with me. No, she said. My phone battery is very low. It will die soon. Please just hurry. Okay, I said. I understand. I will be very fast. I am leaving now. Lock your doors and wait for me. I will be in my blue car. Okay, she said. Thank you so much. You are welcome, Maria, I said. I will see you soon. Then the call ended. The phone was silent. The screen went dark. My room was black again. There was no more ringing. There was no more voice. There was only silence. And the dark. But now the silence was different. It was not a sleepy silence. It was a worried silence. My friend needed help. I had to go. I took a deep breath. I put my phone back on the small table. I did not need it now. I needed to get ready. I swung my legs out of the bed. My feet touched the floor. The floor was very cold. The wood was cold under my feet. I stood up. The room was so dark. I could not see the door. I could not see my clothes. I put my hands out in front of me. I started to walk very slowly. One step. Then another step. My hands were touching the air. I was looking for a wall. My foot hit something soft. It was my shoes. I remembered I left them on the floor. I did not want to fall. I moved my foot around the shoes. I continued to walk. My hand touched the wall. The wall was cold and flat. I knew where I was now. I moved my hand along the wall. I was walking toward the light switch. My fingers found the small switch. I pushed it. Click. The light came on. The room was full of yellow light. The light was very bright. I closed my eyes again. It was too much light. I waited. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I opened my eyes slowly. I could see my room. My bed was messy. The blanket was on the floor. My clothes were on a chair. Everything was normal, but it did not feel normal. It felt urgent. I had to hurry. I walked to my closet. The closet had a big wooden door. I pulled the handle. The door opened. Inside, there were many clothes. Shirts and pants. I needed warm clothes. The night was cold. Maria was on a cold, dark road. I took a warm sweater. It was a gray sweater. It was thick and soft. I pulled my sleep shirt over my head. I put on the gray sweater. It felt warm. It felt good. Now I needed pants. I looked in the closet again. I found a pair of blue jeans. I took them. I sat on the edge of my bed to put them on. I put one leg in, then the other leg in. I stood up and pulled the jeans up. I closed the button. I was wearing a sweater and jeans. Now I needed socks. My feet were very cold on the wooden floor. I looked in my drawer. I opened the drawer. It was full of socks. Black socks, white socks, blue socks. I took a pair of black socks. They were thick. I sat on the bed again. I put on one sock. Then I put on the other sock. My feet felt much warmer now. They felt much better. Shoes. I needed my shoes. I looked on the floor. I saw my shoes near the bed. The same shoes my foot touched in the dark. I picked them up. They were brown shoes. Strong shoes, good for walking. I put on the left shoe. I tied the laces. I made a small bow. Then I put on the right shoe. I tied the laces on that shoe. I made another small bow. Now I was fully dressed. I was ready. No, wait, keys. I needed my car keys. And my house key. Where were my keys? I always put them in the same place. There is a small bowl near the front door. I put my keys in the bowl every day. I walked out of my bedroom. I walked into the living room. The living room was dark. I did not turn on the light. The light from my bedroom was enough. I could see the shape of the sofa. I could see the shape of the table. I walked carefully. I did not want to hit my leg on the table. I walked to the front door. I saw the small bowl on the little table. I looked inside the bowl. Yes, my keys were there. I picked them up. They made a small jingle sound, a metal sound. I held them tight in my hand. I had my keys. I had my shoes on. I was wearing warm clothes. Now I was really ready. I walked to the front door. I put my hand on the doorknob. It was cold and metal. I turned the knob. The lock made a click sound. I pulled the door open. A rush of cold night air came into the house. It was much colder outside. I stepped outside. I was on the small porch in front of my house. I turned around and pulled the door closed. It made a soft thud sound. I put my house key in the lock. I turned the key. Click. The door was locked. My house was safe. I put the keys in my pocket. The night was very dark. There was no moon in the sky. Only a few small stars. The streetlights made pools of yellow light on the empty street. It was very quiet. I could hear my own breathing. I could hear my shoes on the concrete path. I walked to my car. My car was parked on the street. It was a blue car. It was not a new car, but it was a good car. It was a reliable car. I hoped it was reliable tonight. I took the keys out of my pocket. I found the car key. It was a small key with a black plastic top. I pushed the button on the key. Beep, beep. The car lights flashed 2 times. The car doors unlocked. I walked to the driver's side door. I pulled the handle. The door opened. I got inside the car. I sat in the driver's seat. The seat was cold. I closed the car door. The sound was loud in the quiet night. Now I was in my car. It was dark inside the car, too. I put the key into the ignition. That is the keyhole to start the car. I turned the key. The car made a noise. R-R-R-R, R-R-R-R, R-R-R-R. The engine started. The car was running. The dashboard lights came on. They were green and orange. They made the inside of the car glow a little. I turned on the headlights. 2 big beams of white light shot out from the front of the car. The light lit up the street in front of me. I could see the road clearly now. I put my hands on the steering wheel. The wheel was cold. I put the car in gear. I pressed the gas pedal with my foot very gently. The car started to move forward. I drove away from my house. I drove down my street. My street was empty. All the houses were dark. Everyone was sleeping. Everyone but me. And everyone but Maria. I drove to the end of my street. I stopped. I looked left. I looked right. There were no cars. The big road was empty too. I turned right onto the big road. I pressed the gas pedal more. The car went faster. The street lights passed by one. Yellow light, then dark, then yellow light, then dark. The buildings of the town were all dark shapes. The shops were closed. The restaurants were closed. Everything was asleep. I drove through the sleeping town. I was the only car on the road. It felt strange. The town was usually so busy, so full of cars and people, but at midnight it was a different place. It was a quiet, empty place. Soon I was at the edge of town. The houses and shops were gone. Now there were only trees on the side of the road. The road became darker. There were no more street lights. My headlights were the only light. They made a tunnel of light in the black night. I drove on. I was thinking about Maria. I hoped she was okay. I hoped she was not too scared. The old road was famous for being scary. People told stories about it. I did not believe those stories. But tonight, on this empty road, I could understand why people were scared. It was very dark and very quiet. I saw a sign. The sign was white. It had black letters. It said Old Forest Road. This was the turn. I slowed down the car. I turned the steering wheel. The car turned onto the old road. This road was smaller. It was not a smooth road. The car bounced a little. The trees were very close to the road. The branches of the trees made a roof over the road. It was like driving through a long, dark tunnel. My headlights lit up the road ahead, but I could not see very far. The road had many curves. I had to drive slowly and carefully. I was looking for Maria's car. She said her car stopped, so I was looking for a car on the side of the road, a car with no lights. Or maybe she left her parking lights on. I drove for a few minutes. It felt like a long time. The road was the same, trees dark, curves, trees dark. Curves, I started to worry again. What if I could not find her? What if I was on the wrong road? No, she said the old road. This was the only old road near the forest. I had to be on the right road. I kept driving. My eyes were wide open. I was looking very hard. I looked on the left side of the road. I looked on the right side of the road. Nothing, only trees and darkness. Then I saw something far ahead. A small light, a very small, blinking light. It was a red light. It was blinking on and off, on and off. It was a car's hazard light. It had to be her. My heart beat faster. I was relieved I found her. I pressed the gas pedal a little more. I drove faster toward the blinking red light. As I got closer, I could see the shape of a car. It was a small, dark car. It was parked on the side of the road, half on the dirt. That was Maria's car. I slowed my car down. I stopped my car on the road behind her car. I left my headlights on. My lights lit up her car and the trees around it. I could see everything clearly now. I put my car in park. I turned off the engine. The car became quiet. I could hear the crickets outside. I sat for a moment. I was here. She was here. We were safe. I opened my car door and got out. The cold air hit me again. It smelled like pine trees and wet earth. I looked at Maria's car. The little red lights were still blinking. I walked toward her car. My shoes made a crunching sound on the gravel at the side of the road. I walked to the driver's side window. I looked inside. I saw Maria. She was sitting in the driver's seat. Her head was down. She was looking at her hands. I knocked on the window glass. Tap, tap, tap. Her head shot up. She looked at me. Her eyes were wide. She was scared. Then she saw it was me. A big smile came on her face, a smile of relief. As she unlocked the door, I heard the click. She pushed the door open. "You came," she said. Her voice was full of relief. I was so scared. I told you I would come, I said. I smiled at her. Are you okay? I am okay now, she said. She got out of the car. She gave me a big hug. It was a tight hug. I could feel she was still shaking a little. Thank you, she said into my shoulder. It's okay, I said. I hugged her back. Everything is okay now. We stood there for a moment. The only light was from my car's headlights. The only sound was the crickets. Then we stepped apart. What happened to your car? I asked, looking at her small, dark car. I don't know, she said. She looked tired. I was driving, and it just made a loud noise. And then it stopped. Everything. Turned off, the engine, the lights, everything. I tried to start it again, but nothing happens. She showed me. She got back in her car and turned the key. There was no sound, nothing at all. The car was dead. It's okay, I said. We can look at it in the morning. For now, let's go to my house. You can sleep there. That sounds wonderful, she said. I just want to be somewhere warm. Okay, I said. Get your bag or anything you need. She leaned into her car and grabbed her purse from the passenger seat. She also grabbed a jacket from the back seat. She closed her car door. She locked it. I guess I will leave it here, she said, looking at her car. We can call a tow truck in the morning, I said. It will be fine here. We walked back to my blue car. The headlights made long shadows behind us. I opened the passenger door for her. She got in. I closed the door. I walked around to the driver's side and got in. I started the engine again. The car came to life. I turned on the heater. Warm air started to blow into the car. Maria sighed. Oh, that feels so good, she said. I was so cold. I smiled. I put the car in gear and started to drive. I had to turn the car around. The road was narrow. I drove forward a little, then backward a little, then forward again. Finally, the car was facing the right way. We were heading back to town, back to my house. We drove away from her dark, silent car. We drove back through the tunnel of trees. Maria was quiet. She was looking out the window. I think she was just happy to be moving, happy to be warm, happy to be not alone. The drive back to town felt much shorter. Soon we saw the first streetlights. We were back in the sleeping town. We drove through the empty streets. It was still very late. Or maybe now it was very early. I did not know the time. It did not matter. We arrived at my street. I drove to my house and parked the car in the same spot. I turned off the engine. We were home. We got out of the car. I unlocked the front door. We went inside. I closed the door behind us. We were out of the cold night. We were in my warm house. You can sleep in the guest room, I said to her. Let me get you some blankets. I turned on the lights in the living room and the hallway. The house felt safe and comfortable. Maria sat on the sofa. She looked very tired, but she was not scared anymore. I went to the guest room and prepared the bed for her. I put clean sheets and a warm blanket on it. I found a pillow. I made it comfortable. I came back to the living room. The bed is ready for you, I said. She stood up and gave me another hug, a soft one this time. Thank you, she said again. You are a very good friend. You would do the same for me, I said, and I knew it was true. She went to the guest room. I went to my room. I was tired, too. It had been a long night. I took off my shoes and my clothes. I put on my sleep shirt again. I got into my bed. The bed was cold now, But it did not matter. I pulled the blanket up. I closed my eyes. The room was quiet again, but it was a good quiet. It was the quiet of a safe house, with a friend sleeping in the other room. The midnight phone call was scary. The dark road was scary. But helping a friend was not scary. It was just what you do. I looked at my friend, and she looked at me, and we were both safe and warm in my car, and that was a very good feeling.